Okay.
We're good to go on my end.
One second, I'll push it over so everybody can pull your mic down a little bit towards you so it picks up. Thanks.
Welcome to the meeting. First thing of business is review and approve bills paid since the last approval. Is that showing up out there? Is that showing up?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of a short list because it's only been, what, 3 weeks since we met. The most extraordinary items on here, you'll see down about halfway down the page, paid to Sunrise Engineering, Tusher Contracting, and Sunrise Engineering. Those were paid out on a pay request that was sent in.
Are those the final payments?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think they were the substantial
Yeah.
payments. There's just a couple of small items, but I think that was the last big one.
We haven't finalized or finished paying out the retainage either, so
Okay.
I'm just waiting for Sunrise to give me an invoice on that.
He's working on a couple of things at Sunrise, so he said it would be a little bit before he can get that
So
last big request in.
we run with them with the retainer, right? Retaining money?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I don't know what the retainage is, but we have in the assessment area project, we've got $132,000 in the retainage account, and I don't think the retainage to Rollins is going to be that much.
Okay, to Rollins? Is that what you're talking about, or are you talking about Tusher?
I'm talking about Rollins.
Okay.
And then in the other account, I forgot to bring those with me, but there's enough to cover the retainage. Tusher took a draw on the retainage earlier, so this is about half paid. I think there might be $60,000 or $70,000 retainage that will be owed to Tusher, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
And Sunrise hasn't given us the final figures yet, but should be coming.
Okay. And once we do that, it's over? Once we do the next transactions with those 3 individuals?
Well, I hope it's done.
I believe so. Like Sunrise has got a couple of small things they're doing out of that retainage, like putting together GIS maps and stuff like that. That's just taking a little extra time, but that's all minor compared to everything else.
I didn't include the other list that you normally see because I didn't have any unpaid bills. So this is it.
Wow. Lyman. I mean, we don't have to do a whole bunch of stuff. Good.
I'll move to approve these financials as presented by Dave.
Do you have a second?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Hey, Dean,
Yes, sir?
you did skip over the minutes.
I did.
Yeah.
Oh.
First half,
Top of the
just
page.
a reminder.
Yeah. You did it for me, Brandon, I know you did. Review and approve October 23rd, 2025 minutes. Any corrections, deletions, or additions that we need to, anyone saw in the minutes?
Hearing none, I'll move to approve the October 23 minutes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Wasn't it the 24th of October?
I don't know.
It shows 23rd, but it may very well
Put the
be.
date on the wrong one, right now.
It
It is the
may be
24th.
24th.
Yep, I'll fix that one.
Oh,
They have to change everything.
no. Do you have a motion to redact the 3?
Yeah, right here.
We're not putting you in the hot seat, David.
Oh, not today. Today. Gonna go back to the budget probably, huh? Depending on the budget.
Yeah.
Wanna go to the budget?
This is only the tentative budget. The final budget we will approve at our next meeting on the 5th of December, is that right? 5th of December. The proposed tentative budget numbers are on the left-hand side. On the other side is the budget that was approved for 2025. The actual figures that we've, money that we've received and money that we've spent up to date in 2025, and then the final column is the difference between the approved budget and the actual figures. And it was requested last year that I present these figures so that you have something to compare to. The revenues are based on our last quarter billing projected through 2026. It does not include, the fees will remain the same per unit. There's no change in fees. Had we needed to increase the fees, we would have had to have a public hearing on that. So these numbers are just based on our last quarter, fourth quarter 2025, projected through 2026. The interest income that we receive has all been based on the amounts that we've had from those loans for the projects. And since we're coming to the end of those, we won't have as much interest income as we have had in the past.
We've done well with it.
For instance, up to date in 2025, we've collected $137,000 in interest. So I'm just projecting that.
Must be better than the CDs.
I think the rate is just under 5%. Right?
Yeah. Well, good.
So that's the 32,500. I don't. We might reach that. We might not. I don't have any idea. The other income is the $3,000 of income. That's from. Let's see. The Yardleys pay us $5,500 for leasing water, and we agreed to give $2,500 to the Delta people for that.
Oh, yeah. So
that's the $3,000.
those ladies.
And they
Nuisance and wine hymns.
to make a balanced budget, we have to use funds that we've collected from the years that we hadn't paid in the past. That we hadn't paid out in the past. These will be reserve funds. So that's the $1,060,000. But that is offset in the expenditures by the anticipated payment of paying out the balances on those contracts.
Mm-hmm.
For For salaries and wages, estimated that, we'd pay out $137,000. And that's based on a 5% increase in wages for Brandon and Brady. And that's what we did last year. We increased their wage by 5% last year, and I just did that again this year.
I was gonna ask you about that the other day.
Last year, we budgeted $140,000 for wages, and this year to date and this year plus anticipating there's 3 more payrolls for the year, projected $132 will be spent for wages, so we're still less than budget. And so I budgeted $137 for 2026.
David?
Yeah.
Rich had a question.
Could that interest money go back in against that loan?
I'm not sure what we have to do with that. If there's money left over in the,
We have to maintain our accounting to keep everything associated with that loan together. And then at the end of the payout, if there happens to be some money left over, then there's a process you can go through to allocate that somewhere differently.
Like the master plan?
Well, you could allocate it, then you could put it in the general fund or
Okay.
something like that, but not until the end.
Yeah.
Well, we're in the middle of the payoff and everything, all of it really kind of has to stay.
yeah, we have to,
Has to be over.
projects have to be totally complete
Yeah.
before we can determine what's left, if anything.
Right.
But didn't that have like a 2% or 1% interest rate or something like that?
There's one,
Yeah.
One nine,
For the
right.
rainy day fund, I would pay out 1%.
Yeah.
We can cross that bridge when we get to it.
The other budget items that I want to point out is the supplies and maintenance. I've included in there, $25,000 for, equipment parts, repairs and maintenance. This year we spent just under 15,000 so far, so I think the equipment's in pretty good shape, but
Yeah, we've got to get some tires for our dump truck and
what about chains?
snowmobile. I might need a new set of chains. That number between now and the end of December is gonna, just a little bit.
So
So they're under budget, what you're saying?
yeah. Also, the fuel, we budgeted 15,000 for fuel, but we've only spent about half of that.
Yeah. So we got one more field dump this year too.
That's good. For gravel and salt and road maintenance supplies, I've included 32,500. That should be more than enough to cover the gravel that you want to get.
Yeah, so I sent you that bill from Yardley's. Did you see that?
No.
So it was about 17 grand for those 35 loads of stuff we just got put on the road.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
all-
what-
yeah. But there was also a $900, I had Yardley's do a patch on the upper lodge road through a pothole that was up there too. So that was in on that.
That'll be paid out before the end of the year, so that'll come out of this year's budget.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not next year. And then, we talked about the chip seal of the Upper Meadows Road. The last time we did that, we paid just a little over 30,000 for that job. And I've included 35,000 in the proposal.
How long ago was that?
10 years or so.
It was,
Yeah, it's been.
it was 2017.
Okay.
Oh, 8 years, yeah. So are we gonna look at doing that again?
I turned in all the measurements and stuff to
Chet.
Stetson at the county road department, and he was supposed to get back to me and give me a guesstimated price, because you gotta do all the numbers to get the actual price, but you're never gonna get back to me in time, so.
But are they in favor of us doing it?
Oh, yeah, I mean, all four.
I was gonna say it needs it.
Yeah.
And we wanna get it done,
I'd like to do it this way.
before fall. We need it done in July or August.
Mhm.
I think your spring is better.
Huh.
There's too much going on in the summer, there's nothing going on in the spring.
Yeah, you get on there another.
The county usually, they help the cities until they kind of, we have to go with whatever their
Schedule.
schedule is.
And,
Well, you're the leverage. You're the man. For the city.
the price of oil has been coming down, so we might be close enough.
I'll get it done there.
They always help us out, but we have to go with their schedule, and they usually want to do, you know, cities all at the same time, and have all the people ready and schedule it out.
Yeah, but all of us paid double taxes up there, so what do you do? Boston Tea Party all over again.
Chad Johnson said you could afford
I know. He said that's why we can afford it.
I'm just repeating.
Why we live there. He brought that up from about 15 years ago, and I was madder than heck. I brought it up, but that's, he said, well, you guys put those places you can afford it. So that was the name of that.
I've increased the utilities budget to cover the, we get billed, is it $5 a meter?
Yeah.
So it's been $3.75 a month for the meters. And hopefully they'll be in operation then.
That number's gonna increase a little bit because of the amount of meters we got. They haven't been charging us for most of them because we worked out a deal that they wouldn't till after the new year on all the new meters that we ordered on that last.
So how many meters are we gonna have to pay for?
I wanna say right now it's 120 of them, 130, 125. I have to look at the exact number.
But the final number would be closer to like 250 or so, wouldn't it? We have 250 dwellings approximately.
Yeah, but some of those buildings are complexes that have to be metered on a single meter.
Okay.
And
So
so
we'll need that many.
some of them are a little on, a little off there. And then a couple like your newer buildings up there behind the mini houses, I haven't added those on the list yet because they're not ready to add them on, so.
As I understand it, the fee that meter fee covers, the reading of the meters and the reports of usage that they give us.
And they also send us a leak alert. If so much water goes through the pipe within a short amount of time, they send me an email that says there's potential leak in that unit, so that helps.
So we might have to increase that a bit.
How much is it, 375?
That's what we pay now, $3.75.
For each meter?
No,
No, 375.
$375 a month for all of the meters
Oh.
now. But that doesn't, Brandon's saying that's not including all of the meters that we're going to.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you, yeah. So, all right.
I'm not exactly sure how many it's all
That's kind of
have.
like 70 meters or so, roughly. 375 divided by 5.
75.
Yeah.
$75.
So we're gonna go to 2 or 3 times that.
75 meters. Okay. Going further, any questions or comments on any of those numbers that you see so far?
As long as the discussion goes the way it needs to go, it will. Some things we've been talking about.
We're gonna have to try and adjust that, then before we adopt the final budget.
Mm-hmm.
What's the water system maintenance? You have 10,000 down there, we've only used $68.
So this year and last year wasn't real bad on water system maintenance because we changed out the pumps at both pump houses, redid a bunch of the pipes that were already bad. So as we were going, the stuff that we would have been fixing anyways got changed out with that project. And so it saved us a ton of money over these two projects because they were already in the scope of work.
And a lot of grief.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that number this year and last year can't be.
So with the project being completed,
That's, so that's looking forward, means
Yeah.
this was gonna cost
Yeah.
that management.
we may have maintenance costs and we may not, depending on how good they get the project.
Yeah,
We have,
all that other costs and maintenance.
while we're talking about this, do we have any other areas that are,
Just a question on that maintenance, you put in new pumps, do you happen to have spare pumps on site?
There's a spare one in each pump house, so there's 2 pumps in each pump house, and they work oscillating from each other so that one doesn't just sit stagnant. And then if one goes down, it'll just operate on the single pump until we can get one replaced. So, yes, there is a redundancy in there.
Also, there may be work on the Forest Service spring that would be used for.
Yes, I didn't want to push the subject too hard until these other projects were closed out, so we could see what kind of money we have laying around, but. I know that's a bad way to put it, but that Forest Service spring is failing. It's a matter of time before it's no longer a good source for us, which will put us back into a deficit on our water supply. And I just think we need to look into that before it becomes a bigger issue. I do have a video. There's 3 lines coming into the collection box at Forest Service Spring. Only one of those lines is producing water, and it's only producing about 10 gallons a minute right now. And that spring can produce a lot more. I've seen it do it. But the way that the spring is done, it's failing in some way, and you can't tell until you dig it up. But it's coming above the liner and going out the ground.
it's leaking?
Yes. Instead of going in the pipe, it's going down the river.
So we may or may not need the 10,000 for water system maintenance. It just depends on how things.
We could get that to work year round too, that would be a real benefit.
Yeah, so I put some measurements on it, and those spring pipes are only buried at just under 4 feet where they come into the collection, and they've got to be angled to the collection, so I'm guessing by the end of the pipe, they're only 2 feet deep, 2.5 feet deep, and if they're done wrong, they're never gonna flow water through the winter, just because water up there goes lower in the winter.
But plus the fact during the summer, it's huge flow, isn't it?
Yeah, that spring puts out 150, 160 gallons a minute in the summertime, but it completely stops.
We have no problem ever again, if we had no three. Good.
The best part about that spring is it's a gravity-fed spring. There's no other pumps, no electrical, nothing that needs to go into it, just the spring development. Obviously, we gotta have some hydrology work done to have people come do their surveys on it, but for the most part, I think that's our best spring because the power grid could fail and you'd have water. So-
Yeah, that's true. Question for you, if you look at that whole situation, and you have that spring working the way it is, how, does it just come down and come to the tanks now?
Mhm.
Okay.
It gravity feeds all the way.
We were talking while we were up there looking at it, we won't do a whole lot more pipe down further, just that area that has the broken pipes, and dig on the backside and do something, I can't remember which, put a wall in.
So, yeah, so for the most part, right inside that new fence we did is all that'll need to be done.
Uh-huh.
Granted, that pipe was put in about 2000.
Mhm.
I found the plans from that finally. But, so, it is C900 pipe according to the plans.
Yeah.
And all the elevations are right. There might be a leak or two in it, but it's a really hard one to find a leak because there's no pumps, it's just a gravity fed line. But at the spring, I'm collecting as much as I'm getting at the tank, so it's,
One of the other big expenses is we're gonna have to develop a road up there and then put it back.
there would have to be a temporary road put in and then also
So that
pull
could
back
be
out. and clean it.
costly.
Shouldn't be too bad.
No.
What's that?
It shouldn't be too bad.
Yeah.
But the benefits of that spring are tremendous, so we want to preserve that spring and develop it to the best of our advantage.
I think so. And I think we need to work with Sunrise to get a hydrology report on it, to make sure their hydrologists agree that we can keep it flowing through the winter. Because there's a lot of science that goes into that I'm not all privy on.
Well, that would save us pumping costs on the other.
Yes, yeah, if the tanks are full from that spring, the pumps won't even turn on, so.
Okay.
Would we have the same contractor who did the triple check?
Hopefully not.
Yeah.
That is a go.
Yeah, let's not go there, we know what we're doing. We have two options, right?
I think there's more than two options.
I mean, in Utah, there's a lot of talented,
Yeah.
spring developers out there.
Sure. Gotta be somebody that does it for a living.
And there's some people who own a strap out.
I think Rollins wanted that job, but they were too busy to bid on it.
Yeah.
And Rollins is, they're pretty good.
And it wasn't even, I mean, paint company's great, but it was who they used. It was like,
They're
they had the young guy started, and they brought in the heavy hitter, and the heavy hitter didn't know what he was doing. It was,
And they got, what's our guy's name, Kevin, over in,
Yeah, yeah.
they worked really close with Kevin on everything out there. It was kind of fun to go out and watch them do that stuff down the bottom. They worked together really well. And if they said they're gonna be there, they were.
Going on down further, you'll see 912,000 and 132,000. These are the amounts that are left in the loan accounts. And so I just put those in as,
For the special assessment down in the bottom?
yeah,
Okay.
there's 900-something left in the main one?
yeah,
I think there's one more payment coming out of that.
yeah.
Their final.
So there's more payment coming out of that, and, I don't know what we'll have to be required to do with what's left over.
Yeah.
And then, right at the bottom, you'll see the payments, the 2026 payments on the three loans that we have. And so the total budget is $1,773,840. And with using the carryover, we come up with the same amount of revenue, so we have a balanced budget, unlike the federal government.
Thanks, Dave.
Any questions or comments, Rich?
What was the total that we had, we only used 2/3 of that money, is that right?
On the project,
Yeah.
so far, they haven't submitted final payment on,
We have finals to do yet.
Ballpark what that final would be?
I'd be shooting in the dark to give you that number.
You're a salesman, you never tell them how much it costs.
That'll probably just quite clear.
I'll die, tell me.
I honestly don't know. I mean, coming up on the final, they've got all their people that they had to pay out, so I think it's gonna be a pretty big number, but I haven't, like I said, if I gave you a number, I'd just be lying to you, so I don't wanna do that.
The payments have been running around 400,000, Rich.
Okay.
Plus, there's the retainage to be paid.
Okay, any other questions?
Just real quick.
Yeah.
Are there publicly available cost breakdowns for these CapEx items on here? Like, just broken down, like, how granular are they on what's been spent on with different contractors, that sort of stuff? Is that available?
I think it goes on our payout, or our payables every month during the meeting, doesn't it, what we're paying to
We
each?
have that available, yes.
Yeah.
But there's an actual cost breakdown schedule for the CapEx, as opposed to just the AP stuff that I see in the meetings each month.
Yes.
I mean, I see the AP stuff get paid out, but I'm just curious how you tie it to the categories.
I'm not clear on what you're asking about, but
What is in the $912,000? What makes it up? What makes up the $132,000? Right, so that's money to be spent this next year. And
those figures, those are the amounts that are left in the accounts that we have been using for those projects. That's just a balance of the money.
Those are undeployed loan proceeds.
it's undeployed, but what's it going to be deployed on, is what I'm asking. What's the cost breakdown, just like if you were to get a construction loan or something else?
We don't know.
How
We
much you
haven't
can spend
gotten
on
the-
this, and this?
We haven't gotten the final pay requests on those, so we don't know for sure.
Well, I would say it this way, so we had a roughly $4 million loan for all these improvements. It was detailed as to what that loan was for and all the components of it. So far, we've deployed $3 million of that against invoices that, are detailed, and that's the cash that's left over that has not yet been deployed, but mostly will be deployed in the same way against an invoice with detail. So it all comes back to the original $4 million budget for the project that went through the community impact award.
If you're asking where every dollar of it will go in.
No, I was wondering, what is it, like, typically there's a CIP or something, right, that's put together for these types of things that you look at and.
That all happened years ago in the
Yeah.
beginning.
Because how many years has this been going on? Three?
Two and a half.
And Sunrise has a lot of that, or, yeah.
Sunrise has a breakdown detail of
Yeah, we
every
use
single
that
dollar
a lot.
spent.
We have that before.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions from the audience? Any comments or questions from the board?
I have
Proud that we got 1% loan.
the two projects, we've got the special assessment area, and then we have the water system improvement. The special assessment area has 132,000 undeployed. If there's any left over in that, it would seem that since that was actually paid specifically by individuals, wouldn't that, it would seem like that would go back, pay off the loan, but then be reflected as reducing the loan that the individuals have as well. Whereas the water improvement, we all paid for it as excess. I think it's just fine for it to kind of flow through the, through our general budget, if that's allowed by the program. But the one where the individuals actually paid, it seems to me that we might need to think about how unused funds are treated in that case.
I agree with that.
Okay.
There's a ton of rules on that too, because of federal funds for that. Anything out of the scope of the work, you have to file a whole new thing to get that money released.
When is I know the project is finished in terms of installation, when is it finished in terms of the loan
Yeah, we
protocol?
gotta finish that off because there were several issues there that we've got to, adjust. We had one person who, put in a line by himself, and we had a separate contract with him, we accepted that line, and now he's paying like half of his assessment, so we have to adjust that, and that maybe, there's some money that we didn't use to put in that line, and so we have to make an adjustment on that, but he's only paying half of it too, and then there's another property owner that isn't paying his assessment because he owns another lot, and he got the county to, combine those two lots into one, and the one lot had service previously, and the other lot didn't, and so we have to make a decision on that. Technically, we could force him to pay, but if we can somehow adjust it here, then we might decide, he's combined his two lots, and then there was another person who wanted to combine two lots, but never got around to doing it, and he's only been paying on one of his lots so far, so I just have to make these adjustments with you. If we have leftover money, then ultimately we can make final decisions on those questions.
Should we establish a time period by which is it accurate to say that it's just us getting together, the right people getting together to button up the loose ends on that? Should we say 2 months or so to be done with that, end of January? That seems.
Right, we were just waiting for the project to end, and it's just.
I think some of them on Sunrise's shoulder to button up their end of stuff so that they can give us the final completion.
I thought there were still people in things that are doing that.
Do they know that? Have We asked them.
Yeah, I've talked with them, and they're working on it, they're trying to do both projects at the same time, and
But we still have to, get the water service to those two lots, haven't technically done that yet, and
up
that's,
to those lots up on that hill.
so we talked that at the last meeting.
Yeah.
But I thought you were just gonna run a service line from the.
It does need to be
Yeah,
just a service line,
Service line.
but it's a long speed service line, but yeah.
Did we determine they didn't have to pump it, that there was enough to get it there from the tanks?
Down there where we're talking, yeah, that other stuff,
Yeah.
that's still,
Up in the air?
it's still up in the air, what's happening there.
Yeah, anyway, we need to make all those adjustments, and then we'll bring that to the board and make final decisions on that.
And we have to find out what the Division of Drinking Water and CIB, what their regulations are as far as any money's left over, what they expect from it.
Well, I don't think there's many left over, I want to try and transfer over to the payoffs from the loan.
Yeah,
When we make decisions on those other loans.
but like Shane says, if any of that gets
Right.
paid back against the loan, then the property owner should get credit for it.
I just want to say that that wasn't a good project, because the reason we started the project is the property owner got a bid, and it was gonna cost him $80,000 to get the line extended to his property. And so by doing this project, he only had an assessment of $29,000 to get service. And in addition, the interest rate that we were able to get applied to everyone was better than anyone could have gotten on their own. So it was a good project for us to undertake, but it is really a hassle to collect the money now. We basically have half of the people that I have to go try and squeeze them to get the payment that we
We need a motion to approve this tentative budget.
I'll make a motion to approve the tentative budget.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Dee, will you sign off on it?
You're not gonna give me your pen, are you?
No, not that one.
I sent you the 2026 schedule in an email right before the meeting. If you can see if you want to pull it up.
I will see.
I just had a couple questions on the 2026 meeting schedule, sorry.
11:14.
I should have told you that when I came in here earlier.
Where did you send that to me?
Just
Right there.
Something faster.
Yeah, right there. On the 2026 meeting schedule, I just have a couple questions before we post it. In May, that meeting on the 22nd is, Memorial Day is that following Monday. And the last couple of years, we've struggled to get people here because of that. Do you want to move that meeting to the 29th of May? So that it's not follow the Friday night?
I think so.
Okay, so we can move that one to
Does
the 29th.
everybody agree with that?
Yeah, that's
easy
fine.
for all of
Yeah,
us.
that's fine.
That's okay with everybody? Okay, and I think we might have better turnout and all of the things with that. And then do you want to try again to have the meeting on the mountain, in June this year? It didn't work out last year because of all of the stuff we had going on, and we needed to be
Too
where we
much
had.
construction.
Yeah, well, we needed to be where we have recording
Yeah,
and all of the
yeah.
things. So do you
Do
want
we-
to shoot for that again?
Well, do we have that figured out, the recording, if we were to do it?
Yeah, I think we can make it work. The county's got a couple new things we can try and.
We can do that in the lodge, too,
Shane
before
offers a
October.
lodge. The only thing, it can get a little bit noisy when we're over in those other buildings, and it's just,
Lodge is better.
it's kind of hard to pick all of everything that
Sure.
everybody's saying up. So I think we can plan for that. We just weren't able to make it happen last year, but I just want to make sure you want to plan for that in June again this year and shoot for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good. Shane?
Yes.
On that note, the booster they put in up on the tower,
Works really well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
where we had nothing,
I know.
it's fine.
It works at Popper Lake.
What's that?
It works at Popper Lake.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can make a phone call from the Poplar Springs side.
Serious?
Yeah.
So that's.
And Verizon still hasn't,
No place to hide.
They need that.
No place to hide.
It was
You thought you were gonna have a place to hide. No.
We didn't have any service, and for us to call in, so, okay, so we'll plan for that, and I think we should be able to make it happen.
Okay, that would be
Any
good.
other concerns about the meeting dates and
I think
before I call it?
so.
Okay.
Okay,
Board seat
board
selection.
seat selection protocol. Does everybody have a copy of it here?
So this is the protocol that we utilized back in '21. At that time, we had the vote in '21, and so in advance of that, we all came up with this protocol, so to speak. It went through a couple of revisions. And I just wanted to address this. There's some parts of this I'm still trying to figure out why we did, when we did, what we did. So first one is incumbent. There's 2 seats open this round. I think it's D's seat and Gay's seat. D has, stated that he wants to stay on this round, and so he would be an incumbent under this selection protocol. You'd still be in the running. There'd still be someone, another candidate that could go up against you. Do we want to keep it that way, or if an incumbent, because this is a 4-year voluntary, deal, do we want to, if an incumbent wants to stay on, that seat is not open? It's only those that are stepping away, like Gay in this situation. That seat would be open for a vote.
We also have another, we got a letter from Paul, who will be finished the 31st of December.
Okay, so in that case, that doesn't change what I'm talking about. I'm just so, and this time around, I think I've seen 4, is that right? We've got 4 potentials, which is nice. We've got a nice pool, but, I think in other years we've had a lot less than 4. And so I just think that and this is, again, it's completely open to the, it's a slight change to what we've got in this current protocol that we adopted in '21. If an incumbent wants to stay on, then his seat is his seat, and we don't have to go through that process. I don't know if that's is that something that sounds reasonable, or should we still run the process with the incumbency?
Run the process.
Okay. Keep it as is. Okay. That was really my only issue.
And they can still do their intent, but if somebody else wants to.
Absolutely. Well, and then that's what we've come up with, and
Yeah, I think it's the way it is.
Okay, so with that being said, we will have another open seat with Paul as well.
It'll be a 2-year term, though.
What's that?
Because he's only 2 years into his term.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's what I was going to ask you.
So how do you determine who takes Paul's and who takes mine? Like, you say, okay, one of you is a 2-year term, one
That's a great question.
Yeah. And why do we limit it to just one? Why would there only be 2 people? How do we narrow it down to only have one going against an incumbent, and then if you have 3 seats?
Well, you don't narrow it down, you just, you have,
So that,
yeah, that's kind of confusing. If there's 4 people, then there's 3 seats, then obviously 3 get on.
so you don't even really have to pit one against another, you just
Right.
say,
No.
who are your 3 votes? for
Right.
3 open seats.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not really 3 against D or 3 against 1D, it's just there's 4
Right.
people and there's 3 seats available.
Sure.
And then I guess the person who received the lowest number of votes, but still enough to get a seat, would probably get the 2-year seat in this case then?
I think you would make a recommendation for each seat, the resolution would be passed every 2 years, have each seat numbered, and right now, there's people on the seats, which happens to be D and Gay, are the ones that are
Up to
open.
4 years, yeah.
Open for the whole term.
Yeah, and this one, I'm not sure exactly how it works out. automatic. We have the county commission seat and we have the Sitler seat, and they just, whoever county commission wants, they appoint to handle it, and same with Sitler, they tell us who's gonna be handling that seat. So one of those was this year, so we did 3 seats this year, and then in 2 years we have 4 seats that are open. But just 3 because one of them's Sitler, one of them's county commission. But that's, the resolution that we adopted actually has seat number 1, seat number 2, and posted in it, and so you can make a recommendation to fill those seats if you want. Those 2 seats that are gonna be available, 2 or 4-year terms, and one of them is gonna be a 2-year term.
This is all just a way to organize ourselves anyway, because ultimately it's the county commissioners, accept or
It's just
reject
a
or modify our
recommendation.
For us to
recommendation.
make a recommendation to them, and they could do whatever they want. With the other, service districts in the county, they're local service districts, and sometimes we put an ad in the paper saying, is anyone interested in this? And we've done that on this either, but it never generates any interest because.
Down in the valley. Yeah, I wanna go out there.
In the valley.
I need some more
You're not
problems.
qualified to sit anyway. The first qualification would be if you were a resident of the service district,
Right.
full-time resident. And then.
Or a property owner.
Yeah, or a property owner.
Then the second criteria we looked at is just the property owner. And, if some resident came here, we'd have to give them probably first consideration under the statute. But we don't really, a long time ago, when we had an election to create a tax for fire districts.
Another one?
Well, when we did that, the first time we did it, it didn't pass. It was like 3-2 against. And then, a year later, we did it
Sounds
again,
water
and it
mixed
passed.
meat.
It was like 4-2 to pass. So anyway, we don't have that many full-time residents in the district, and none of them have expressed a desire to serve on the board.
Ellen, did you have a question?
I did. So legally, a sitting board gets to pick what seats are given. You know, you have the election, but once they're elected, you guys get to pick where they sit. It shouldn't be like you get the
Oh, you
lowest
mean the
vote.
position?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So really, it's up to you guys where you put them.
Yeah.
Right, the board selects the chairman,
Yes.
and
But once the chairman's been selected, it's not like you got the lowest vote, so you're gonna be on the 2-year term.
no.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, but we have to have some way to sign that.
I would say
What's the better way to?
We would just decide probably.
The board just
The board.
chooses
The board chooses.
the chairman.
Well, the chairman's different, but I'm talking about the 2-year term.
Yeah, you
Maybe
would
vote.
select, you actually make a recommendation, that would be good.
And then we do all that and give it to him.
Recommendation. There are options, when you start a service district, you can actually have an elected service district board if you want, but we haven't chosen to do that in any of our boards here. But, in big counties, some of the service districts are gigantic entities, and they do
Sure.
elect their board members, but we don't do that.
My guess is none of this is in the bylaws.
It's like, most of it's state law.
Okay.
It usually is governed.
It isn't, the county commission could tell us, don't worry about it, we'll select the board. In the past, they've wanted to have a recommendation from the board, it's not by law. It's just they want us to make a recommendation to them, and so we do.
So this, selection protocol still needs to be, updated. Tweaked and revised, based on what we
I have a
talked about
question.
here this morning.
Could the candidates, could any of them say, hey, you know what, I'd like to do a 2-year term and then see if I like it and then go for the next term? I mean, could one of them give a preference?
Because they want it.
think any of the candidates that are here, we should take a minute and let them introduce themselves to the board if they
Sure.
want to right now.
Sure.
Where we are.
Are we gonna hold this?
You're expressing your interest
No.
to stay on the board, right?
Pardon me?
You're expressing your interest to stay on the board, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Dee's still living. Okay.
So we have all four candidates, right?
True.
This, if an incumbent wants to renew his or her seat, the incumbent should be automatically be one of the candidates considered.
Sure. Okay.
And that's the way it is currently. I
Yeah.
just wanted to bring up, did we want to, but,
We either or.
we should leave it as.
Either or.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the vote will not be, will the vote be today? We don't have Paul.
We'll have to call.
Okay, and now that we know about Paul resigning, there's actually 3 seats.
We have passed out or sent everyone, whatever the letters were that people submitted, so we all have that.
Yeah.
The last time we did this, at the meeting, we set it up so that they could either be here or they could call in, you remember, and they were able to kind of give a little spill about, you know, what they wanted to do and why they were running and that type of thing, and then we had the vote afterwards. We set that all up as part of the meeting.
I think
remember how we didn't count because it was gonna be too awkward to go to dinner afterwards.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we didn't even, we were like, let's wait till tomorrow.
Yeah.
actually.
So ultimately, we sent all the resumes out
Yes,
and all the letters of interest,
yes.
okay? And if we open it up to that, we need to do that and have them talk to us. That's what they do.
Yeah, a few minutes. Yeah, we'll go in alphabetical order. I think Barney, you're first.
I'm first?
Yep.
Okay, well, hi, I'm Ken Barney.
Can we do it close to a,
Yeah,
maybe you come up here, yes, thank you, Mr. Martin.
We don't look in your eyes.
Ooh, get up close. Hi, I'm Ken Barney. I've owned property on the mountain for about 26, 27 years. And I've been involved in the board of directors for our HOA. Also have been involved in other boards nationally for my industry. I'm a plumbing and heating contractor in the Salt Lake area. But I've served on national boards for my industry, local boards for our industry, and currently a business owner operating throughout the state of Utah. And I am a master plumber, but we specialize in hot water heating systems. So boiler systems are what we primarily do. Let's see, I love the mountain. I love recreating here. I love spending time here. Want to be able to help keep the mountain available for the use and enjoyment of all involved, and want to be able to guide and direct and use my mechanical knowledge and my business knowledge to help guide the board. And I travel frequently through the state. I'm a pilot, so I fly back and forth, and so I get around. How's that?
I had to find out where the Beaver Airport was for the first time in my life. It was hard.
Oh, it's easy. Yeah, it's a beautiful airport. Anyway, yeah, I just, I love people, I love the mountains, and just want to be able to enjoy the mountains with everybody else. I know it's serves a lot of different purposes, from people's income to their enjoyment, but I just want to be able to help along with that and do my part. I've enjoyed the mountain for all these years, and want to give back as part of that. So, any questions for me?
Yeah, Ken, what did you said that you wanted to keep the mountain open for everyone? What did you mean by that?
Well, being on the mountain as long as I have, there's been parties who've come in and tried to take part of the mountain away from us.
Or all of it.
And I'm not opposed, well, I am opposed to that.
Like 17 years ago? Is that what you're talking about?
What's that?
Like 17 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I
the
mean, the
club.
mountain changed drastically when that occurred, right?
Yeah.
And, so, I mean, I need improvement, I need development, we all do, we need to always improve and develop and move forward, but it needs to be done in a controlled fashion and with guidance and direction, and, so I'm not opposed to allowing other people on the mountain, I just want to make sure it's done fairly and properly, and, yeah, that was a huge change. Most of you,
Slap in the face.
yeah, you know, and it could have been handled so much better, if they had simply involved the community instead of alienated the community. It could have worked, but they just took the opposite, and they just cut everybody off. I mean, the residents here in the valley call that their mountain, and it is. And when someone comes in and wants to take that away, that right, that's there for everyone, that's just not fair. So, yeah, I experienced all that. I watched all that happen and was glad that it didn't, you know, didn't make it through.
Didn't
Yeah.
last.
They could have if they had planned it well and involved everyone and made it a win-win for everyone. It could have worked, but that's not what they chose to do. And so I have to, you know, I'll compliment Shane for, you know, building the mountain and building the resort and allowing it for everyone to utilize. And so, for that, I'm grateful.
He's kept it open longer than anybody in history.
That's true. Yep, that's true. So,
Yeah.
anyway,
I'd like
any other?
everyone to address just the topic of their availability for the meetings that we just scheduled for the next year. Whether they think they're going to be available for them, or whether that's going to be a problem for them.
I shouldn't have any problem with that. Like I mentioned, I mean, I got up this morning in South Jordan and went to the airport and I flew down here.
Oh.
So, I have a place in southern Utah and in the Salt Lake Valley and one here, and so, love to come here, and so it gives me another reason to come here more often. So, I shouldn't have any problem making the meetings if, it's let's see, it was an hour and 15-minute flight from Salt Lake, so, yeah.
Can I ask a question? Do you guys ever zoom in? Is there any rule on, like, can you zoom in if you can't?
We have an ordinance for calling at the meetings, and so we do get people that call in, but we don't want people calling in every meeting.
Right,
Sure.
correct. But if something
something
were a conflict, that is available. Okay.
Any other questions?
Do you have any projects that you yourself are working on within the district?
Yes, I'm actually kind of in between. I helped out with the Hanson cabin, did a system up there. There's a project, up on Grizzly Ridge that I will probably start on next spring. It's a geothermal radiant floor heating system, that, it's being constructed right now, but they're not gonna be doing the interior till spring.
So, but it's all just doing the heating and...
Yeah, just, we're hired by private residences typically, or, you know, we maintain all those systems. I've got probably 25 customers on the mountain that we maintain their boiler systems. And so I get calls from Jack Ehrwig. He calls me up and says, "Hey Ken, we got this problem." And Jack's really good. We get him on, we FaceTime, and then and he helps me actually with some of the annual inspections, and so he's quite knowledgeable with the systems, and he's a good hand. So yeah. Any other questions? Okay.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Rich, I think you can.
Eric. I'll hit cleanup.
Yeah.
lifelong Utah resident. I have been recreating in the Tushers since my first year of college. Come down here a few times a year, mostly in the winter, backcountry ski. I've been a property owner for a little over 4 years. Changed things up last year. Bought a parcel from Shane over on Upper Lake as opposed to on the resort, and building a couple of small yurt structures over there, which has been kind of fun. From a professional standpoint, I'm an entrepreneur. I started the software company back in 1993. That spun off 2 other businesses. Sold 2 of those businesses. Still engaged in the third. It's called Workforce QA. I stepped down from full-time employment in June. Still serve as the chairman there, but did that so I can spend more time here, and which is great. It's really fulfilling. The Tushers are one of my favorite places on the planet. I love the mountains, love to ski, and so it's great to be more connected here. I put an application just because I'm heavily invested at this point in that area, and loved hearing Ken talk about the mountain. I think everyone here, you have to be passionate about the mountain, or you don't put up with the difficulties of being up there, because it's not for the faint of heart, right? So, but it's fragile as well, and with population growth, I've spent the last 35 years in Summit County, just outside of Park City, and watching what has happened there. When you see a place like this, you have some pretty strong opinions that I have developed about what works and what doesn't work, and what the long-term consequences could be, and how severe those consequences are, and you can't see them coming at the time. So I look back 25 years ago, think, oh, if we would have done this, or we would have done this, how different things would have been. And Beaver County, and specifically in areas like the Tushers, have got an opportunity to do it right. So this is a great opportunity to serve the public interest in protecting the area and making sure that development happens in the way that works for everyone. As Ken mentioned, making it work for everyone, coming to agreement on things is the key part. So a lot of my career is, business-wise, has been how do you solve problems? How do you grow things? How do you do that responsibly? How do you deal with people? How do you deal with conflict resolution? How do you overcome difficulty? The financial side of things is so critical, right? Maintaining a balanced budget and long-term thinking. So I have a lot of experience in all of these areas. So anyway, I'd love to serve on the board if it would be helpful for the community. Any questions for me?
Yeah, so Eric, this is a road and water authority. Those are the 2 authorities, so that's what we run here. You and Ken have a similar, sort of like opening statement, which involved having an interest in how things are developed up here. Do you see your role potentially on the board as influencing development in the area?
Well, I
think the road and water authority.
Yeah, so I mean, being in Utah, I think we all know that water is the single most important gating factor for development. It's not actually land ownership. If you don't have water, you can't really do much. And there's a very limited amount of water. I know that from having to have to acquire water and what I had to go through to do that, and develop a water source and so forth. So I think there's no question that the service district has a lot of influence on development, and so how do we engage with that so that it happens in a way that maintains the water resource going forward and happens from, like you say, you can't develop without the water. It's critical. And it's expensive to deal with water at that altitude. Does that answer the question?
I guess. Yeah. I mean,
so yes, I believe that
I just have a
the
question.
service district has a role in
I have
it
a question.
influences development.
We're not gonna service your roads, are we?
Mine?
Yeah, we gonna plow your roads for you?
That'd be great if you did.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking, if that's what I get James get
No,
used to.
no, I
roads and water.
mean, in my case,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I'm completely off grid. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not connect, my water source is completely independent. I have to maintain my own roads, I have my own equipment for that.
I'm envious, but I'm chicken. You can do that.
So, but I do wanna rent your forklift at some point.
Here we go.
No, I've got to
Ken has the keys back there.
stand up a couple of holes back there.
So,
You're
basically,
okay.
the same,
Yeah, I was gonna say, the same
You're
question.
okay with the meeting schedule and
Yeah, I have a lot more availability now, fortunately. You know, I'm here 4 to 5 days a week, pretty much at this point. And, you know, I'll back off a little bit, you know, until spring.
so basically, same question, the one reason I'm fishing, do you have any conflict of interest, projects within the district that?
No, in fact, I'm incredibly independent there. Yeah. Even from the fact that, I don't have a connection from a water perspective to the service district. It's really interesting for me to look at the proceedings during the meetings, you know, as having to, these guys, I run into them on the road all the time. You know, what it takes to develop a water source and to keep a spring going and that sort of thing is, I think, really valuable. Understand. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
I have a question.
Please.
So, I understand, you know, being concerned about having a conflict of interest being on the board, but there are people on the board.
Yeah, I know, it's not that it
Okay.
precludes you, I just want to know it up front.
Awesome.
You know,
Okay.
I just,
I'm just looking
are you
at it
looking at a
going, there's
paving
definitely
project and do
interest.
that, you know, so, no.
Yeah.
Also, those of you who are on the board had a letter given to you about a conflict of interest that we should have been doing. And by January of this year, each one of us will have filled out that.
Okay.
Should we have these candidates fill that out? They wait till they're all.
Okay, Rich's favorite spot, right? Spotlight.
Well, you guys know about me, what don't you, or what do you want to know about me? Scott, you probably,
I know the least, so.
You know the
You
least.
Go ahead and give a spill, just like,
I've worked on a number of projects on the mountain. You know, my goal is to improve the mountain, look for more things. You know, as Eric talked, my thing's also been infrastructure to see how we're gonna build the mountain as it grows, because it's gonna grow. And I'd rather not have that run into us head on. We would have a plan in place. I've worked on a water grant, I've worked on a road grant, I've worked on the water meters, think, you know, we bought broadband. What am I missing? Brought a grant writer to one of the meetings, and then we fortunately came up with somebody else. And I'm hoping that those grants reappear at some point.
Well, I think one of the things about Rich is that he's been involved in everything and he doesn't have to.
No, and like I said, I enjoyed the mountain too. So I want to continue enjoying it. It's being involved in a lot of stuff. I'm actually on one of Phil's boards, and I'm on president of another board on the mountain. I'm a volunteer fireman. Lee Ken's a volunteer fireman with me. If there's something to be done up here, I usually try to help. You know, I don't come to these meetings to throw rocks. I come to these meetings to see what I can do to help.
You keep coming to me to catch the rocks.
Yeah, or get hit by them. So,
Which properties do you own?
I got a couple lots, Mount Holly and my condo.
And those are all listed for sale, aren't they?
Yeah.
Are you staying with?
Yeah, yeah, things just move around, as you probably know, you move your pieces on the board to get to a higher spot.
Okay.
Do you have the property in the special assessment area, don't you, Rick?
2 lots. I think from listening to you guys, I might have saved myself some money. I'm gonna combine the 2 into 1.
Thank you.
But, you know, some of my history, I was an engineer prior to thinking it was a good idea to become a contractor. I've run my own business,
Mechanical engineer?
electrical engineer for used aircraft, and then when I left California in '89, I became a contractor, not knowing really too much about it. Figured it out, never had a complaint at the contractor's board. I hold 3 licenses. And a lot of community involvement in Las Vegas. I've been with a lot of nonprofits on their executive boards where we've done a lot of good. You know, I was with Louise, part of a group that built the first homeless shelter for kids. And I just miss being involved in community stuff, you know, and I was heavily involved in it prior to the recession.
So for me, same question, you know, what projects do you have going on, or, yeah, something?
What projects? Well, I don't think the broadband's in play. The water meters are in play.
I mean, you personally,
Like comfort.
Oh,
so are you,
No.
no building or planning?
No, I'd say the lots are just sitting there. The condo's just sitting there. And as far as time, you guys well know, here last week, you got to meet some of Wade's friends, so, you know, I want to know more. You know, I hate doing things that are stupid, so I'll educate myself before I walk in. And I've got enough of these to know what goes on and how the machine works.
Sure.
Thanks, Rich.
Yeah. Good to see you again, next week too, or next month.
Next month, regarding any other surgeries.
He's hiding from me, he just had surgery on his arm. He said he wasn't gonna make it here unless he could drive, he found a way.
So now that fourth one on, what was that, Mr. Sherms? He's not here today. Will we be hearing from him maybe on the fifth when we vote?
No, I think we should give him an opportunity.
I'm just wondering how that,
I think we should, go into executive session sometime today. I
We
don't know
will.
if we want to do it now, we want to wait and go through the agenda and then do it, and then see where.
Let's do the agenda.
Yeah, let's
How we want to handle
We
it.
only got a couple things left on the agenda.
What's that?
We've only got a couple things left on the agenda.
Let's do that. Water system status?
Since the last meeting, which wasn't very long ago, nothing's changed.
Flows are the same?
Thanks for following.
Flows are the same, tanks are full, skaters up and running. We did spread 35 loads of asphalt down the roads to kind of build them up a little bit and grade them out.
Is that all up in Grizzly Ridge?
Yes. I've got 5 loads sitting in my shop to put in a couple of other spots, but, equipment status, everything, like I said, good. We're gonna need some tires, probably not until next spring, or this coming spring, for the dump truck. Probably some chains, but nothing notable that needs to be added.
well, that's good news.
Yeah,
Great.
so I wanted to ask you.
Brandon, I don't remember specifically, but it seems like we talked about, someone going to build a shed for salt.
We've had a conversation a couple of times
Was
with
that individual?
a couple of different groups, and it hasn't really played out all the way yet, so I think at some point we just make our own, leave everyone out of it.
We did that, so with the group that was talking to us, Aspen Crest HOA, we ended up just buying a sea container, building a pad down in my land, and we're just gonna load it with a skid steer.
Mhm.
So we're good.
Yeah, and that's
You use.
always an option too, but we don't own a skid steer, so.
You gotta load it with a skid steer though, and it may grow in the bottom over time, but.
Sooner or later.
Well, as long as it's not wet, it shouldn't, we did the research.
Yeah.
It's wet, it will, but it's not wet.
Yeah, so that's all hard on stuff, but I mean, containers are
Yeah.
a couple grand. Did last year, 5 or 6 years, you're killing it.
Agenda request.
Again. So Brandon told me something that was interesting, and you've already mentioned it, that those water meters that we got detect leaks, and you found a leak in our A building.
Yeah.
That's how we come to know that.
You know, I'm not aware of the leak in A building, but there was an email that I was copied on, I think you got it this morning, Dee, regarding the installation of the meters. In the A building, was unit 1 and 2, it's almost a perfect opportunity at this point, since obviously the group is, I mean, EMSSD, the district is installing water meters. This is not like the concrete issue that you have, the foundation, where you They're,
Slab.
yeah, where unit 1 and unit 2 were developed such that they're sharing one line, so it needs to be separated.
Yes.
And right now, because everything's torn out, because there was a water heater, there's a water loss, we've got, and I haven't been involved heavily in it, I think Callie and Brandon on our board, and Rich, we've got a $1,500 to separate the lines, and so that is something that,
Did you see my last email? It was they wanted us to pay the $1,500. I said, probably should be a three-way split.
yeah, I didn't, I might have, the one I'm honing in on is that one I saw this morning before I come down here. That, you know, that it's an.
But that's a snowflake deal. But I just think that, you know, and Heidi, you'd probably be a part of this, and I hate, after seeing what you did last week, I hate to ever ask you anything. But,
Last week.
I had no idea that meters would detect leaks, which I think is huge, and if everybody knew that, you know, we'd send out something to everybody on the mountain saying that, hey, in addition to you know, you're getting this service also.
No, it'd be a really good way to present it, right? When you're gonna let them know that the meters, and then you set up the resolution with the cost and everything. I think that should be a part of it, where we let them know that, hey, you know, this is also a leak detection for you and could potentially save you
Right.
And
money.
we
Because
should do
part
the
of my
same thing.
involvement with that was, because we have a water heater that was, a lot of the water heaters in Snowflake are in the basements. This one happened to be up in the unit, and that's where it caused the problem. And I've got remote shut-offs on all my stuff, I've got water sensors on all my stuff that do similar to what the water meters do. Mine are more to, you know, they come directly to me. But I told this guy, I said, rather than go through the expense of moving your water heater down, just get the sensor with the shut-off. Far cheaper than
I think
doing that.
that'd be a good point to make, and I have that email system where I can email everybody, so we could definitely put that in the email.
I honestly totally agree with that, because South Jordan City notified me of a leak because of my meter, and it was high priority leak, and it saved a lot of money. So as an owner, I think if the people on the mountain did understand that they're getting this as part of the value in the increase in the cost of the meters, that's huge. We just want to know what we're paying for and what benefits are coming. So.
Well, that's been the whole purpose of the meters, is for the safety and how much am I paying? You know, it's been mandated, I think the whole state does it, don't they? I mean,
Yeah, it's a
everywhere.
state regulation, and we were supposed to have done it years ago, but because it wasn't done, we had kind of a really long grace period to adapt to getting meters put in.
They came through Lehigh where I live, and there's a lot of people, and that's all they were doing was meter.
Yeah, and they're even trying to get you a meter or secondary water now.
That's right, they did, they did.
Our timing was good with it.
Yep.
You know, we were able to feed it into that loan and,
Mm-hmm.
you know, very little expense.
So, and that brings up, and I would abstain, obviously, because being the president of Snowflake, that is an issue, this $1,500 cost. I just, you got the email from Callie, she sent it over. Being that this is part of the overall water improvement, is that $1,500 to separate it so you can meter it, is that an EMSSD completely, or is it half? And, you know, but I just.
So I've been underneath there and I've looked at that same connection you're looking at, and somebody, so all your units are individually metered except for those two underneath that building. And it looks like they used to be individually metered, and then there must have been a problem, and then they tied into the other line next to it to solve their problem. So I don't know who that lands on, but I don't think it's on the service district. I mean, that's up to the.
But I hear what you're saying, that's a four-way split now.
Right. Like somebody at some point eliminated that meter and tied it into the lines next to it to whatever was going on.
Partially the unit.
Ken, are you in that building? Did you do that?
I think so.
You split that line, and that's Ken.
I tried to run it over to my place, and I.
He wouldn't know. I don't think he is.
But I think Parsons walls in,
No, okay.
which keep, you know, which is the HOA, or the owner's responsibility you get outside of walls in, then it becomes the HOA, and I never thought that the SSD would, you know, have any piece of that, but I guess that, I didn't think it through that far. And
We don't go into the buildings, do we?
No.
yeah, and all this is
We bring it
interior of a
from
building,
outside.
Yeah.
but at some point it is walls in. And
I think for purposes of, because of where we're at, because the building is open, because of the construction, it's gonna need to be done. You know, I won't be a part of those, abstaining obviously because I'm the president of the HOA, but I think that might be a decision that, needs to be made so that they have some,
Well, that email, I think the guy put it out last week, and he said he needed to know by last Friday.
oh, okay.
Just, so I think whatever's
So you're
happening,
talking $1,500 to move those pipes back onto their own individual line?
which I thought was fair, reasonable.
Seems like a little steep to me. It's only 2 lines if you moved them over, and then you could run off of that.
We're not next to Home Depot.
We are not next to Home Depot, I get that.
But, no, I don't know, I thought it was fair.
I heard they're
I mean,
on one.
probably is, I have a hard time paying people to do things, so I don't know.
You're so capable.
Oh, I'm not capable, I'm
Yeah,
just
you
hard-headed. I'll try it 50 times till it works.
You're amazing.
So, no, and so however that washes out.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I just wanted to bring it up because this come up here regarding meter stats.
my
Meters
point-
in all of, stuff like A3?
Not all of them. I've been working with Jack, and then
Okay.
he was off hunting, and then it's just been one thing after another.
Not a problem.
Don't pay me, don't pay me a unit.
Is this a live request that we're considering, or is this, no?
I think it's still got work out.
What was the second part, want to do a Upper Lake?
Yeah, that would probably be more directed away again. I know I learned,
Yeah. You don't want to ask Brenda to come to your place for any unnecessary reason, because
I'll flop
next
water.
thing I know, next thing you know, is, oh, by the way, your meter's installed. You didn't even ask me. You don't have to.
I'll walk past.
And that's the decision, it's getting it done.
okay, and I'll probably continually ask that question.
And that's fine.
Good.
Now I find out that I gotta go every other week to a county commission meeting.
Yeah. We got money, but there's nothing really changed at this point.
Okay. And we talked about something, do I want to talk about that at all?
Yeah, go ahead.
Would you consider, George has always wanted a recreation area across the driveway from the firehouse. It's a little hole that's been dug out. That when you guys do maintenance on that new area, would you consider doing the maintenance in that same area because it is county property?
You mean maintenance, what do you mean by maintenance?
If he gets this little recreation area, community area that I
He wants to have a place where people can go and sit at picnic tables and have meetings outside in the summer and so forth, and for the public.
Across from the fire station on that.
Adjacent to it. It's the property to the east, am I right?
If you go in the
East
driveway,
of the fire
you're
station.
if you're looking out the front door of the firehouse, there's a.
Well, that's
And that's the fire station itself, it's all on that same parcel, you mean just
The
on
fire
that?
station lot that
Yeah.
goes to the service district, fire district.
Just as long as there's no impeding the, access, you
Yeah.
know, should
George
there be
hasn't
something,
talked
because
to
that's right
George
next to the
about
driveway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I was gonna talk to George about it, but,
I don't know if George wants, I'll talk to him.
okay. It's just, I would think that might, one, make him happy, and two, it means that the volunteers or somebody else doesn't have to clean it up.
Yeah, yeah.
Just gotta make sure we're not parking cars in the way of the fire engine.
Well, most of the people who'd be up there using it would probably can drive the trucks anyway, move the cars.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you're asking.
Well, I had
Just
forgotten.
for the maintenance aspect of it.
Until Rich brought it up, I'd
Empty
forgotten
the
about
trash.
it, but we did talk about it. Long time ago.
Well, and I thought at the time it was a crazy idea, and now that I see that area is being more and more used by the community, and if he doesn't put the money together to build this thing, somebody has to maintain it.
Yeah.
So I didn't wanna.
George is really good at getting the money.
I think, Wade said he talked to
Yeah.
George about it, so,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, my first impression is, I don't know, I'm not sure it tells, but if the service district owns it, then they would probably maintain it. I don't know if I'm not sure they maintain it.
I think the county would own it.
It's on the fire station property.
Part of the county.
Well, the service district owns it.
Yeah, they own it.
They're
We never
independent
granted them.
districts, just like we are. So they own the property.
Who would own the project?
So when we gave them the fire station, the land didn't go with it, or we never gave them the fire station?
We gave
Well,
them the
there's-
whole lot.
Okay.
We gave them the whole lot.
Their service district
Oh,
itself.
they as a service district, oh, got it.
Yes.
Fire district is a.
Fire district one owns it.
Service district.
We need to take care of it.
They own it.
Okay.
All right, that's all the agenda.
Okay, where were we?
Thanks, Rich.
Fire
Department. Scott.
So I talked to Jack, he says all the equipment's ready for cold weather. Good. He feels good, and talked to George and George's boss about the burns.
Who's George's boss? That's for this.
That, yeah, it's, shoot, what is his name?
Is it Corey?
George's no boss, but Corey's in charge of the
Was that a boss?
George. It's
Brandon wants
Dan
his name in
and
there.
I want a number.
Yeah.
Dan and Hewlett.
D-A-N-N-O-N?
Yeah.
George has a lot of hats,
Last
but
name, yeah.
one of the hats
Hewlett?
has a ball.
U-L-E-T?
Don't want to be touched.
One of the
He's
hats.
the area manager for the state forest and fire,
In this district.
for the southwest region of Utah.
Okay.
So they both give me the same information though. George is sometimes vague, so I went above and the same thing. They're just waiting on those piles up there to burn when they got a little bit, you know, we get these little skips of
Yeah,
moisture, but they're not enough,
Not
so,
adequate.
so they're just waiting for a little bit more, a small blanket of snow that they think it's what they call perennial before they die. So there is no timetable, it will happen when weather says.
Who can shed some light on the logging they're doing over there? That's it, on the
Yeah.
mountain over there, again by Three Faces.
That's all part of it.
That's Forest Service now.
That's George.
That's shared stewardship with federal government.
Okay, yeah, that's the thing he was talking about, yeah.
That's actually quite more than that.
Okay, yeah, okay. I remember that.
More than ten.
Louise?
Would it be appropriate to ask someone from the Forest Service to come and make a presentation so we get an idea of what their plans are?
Don't see why not. Well, it should be, should.
From the looks of it, their plan is to cut everything down.
That's for quaking trees.
Yeah, they don't cut quaking trees down, just everything else.
Well, ecologically, if normally fire comes through, whatnot, your aspens do really good under those scenarios.
Yeah.
And then over time, aspens get choked out by the pines or the conifers. So, and there's a lot of reasons that you want the aspen community. One, they're more biological diverse. Two, they use less water than a conifer forest.
They hold the soil.
And then they have a lot more forage value for a lot of species of interest for us. Deer, elk, and cattle, so.
Anything that's sweet and green, they'll eat it. You know the place where we had that first fire on the corner? Look at what's there now, quakies. Quakey, everywhere. It's like a,
I just think it would be interesting to see what their, what their plan
If
is
they
the
have a
next 5
plan.
years. Are they going, are they starting here? What do they have? Do they have a plan?
I know there is one, it'd be nice if we got them to cut.
Yeah.
There is a plan at the Forest Service Range District, you can go down and it's all down there.
but George says,
It's all available.
we want that one, take that one. George.
Well, they have specific trees they're cutting down.
I know they do.
It's all laid out.
Well, the best part about it is, I'm not complaining a bit. It's good for us for wildfire. Everybody says it's coming someday, and I think it's great we have a perimeter now. That's pretty good, and they're still gonna do more things down in the bottom below us. Isolated. Okay.
Water rights.
Water rights, Leo.
Really.
Did you do it? Did you get it
Well,
done?
with the guy, the water rights division, his name is Michael Friedman, who's, took over for the guy whose name Nathan Moses, I know. Nathan's moved on. And, so we left out, we filed our change application, and nobody filed a protest against it.
This is the first time in the history of it.
And there was,
It's Moses's time.
Probably a mistake, yeah.
Rocky Ford was,
Oversight.
was expecting his attorney to file a protest, but he didn't do it, so.
Hallelujah.
We'll probably send in a letter late, but his job is to basically prepare the memorandum decision and then see if the, state engineer will sign it. And he said he's worried about whether she will sign it or not. Unless he wants us to work out something with Rocky Ford on years when there is no seawater, when there is no, Rocky Ford's water available, what are we gonna do on those years? So I'm talking to them about that.
30 years.
But anyway, we're in a lot better position because they didn't file a protest, so whatever they do now, it doesn't have as much weight as it would if they file a protest, then it becomes a process where we're against each other and you can't really talk to us, but with no protest, they can keep talking to us. And so we're moving on that, and I feel really good about that. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully that he'll submit a memorandum decision allowing us to substitute that condition, and then we can prove up our water for the state engineer to actually sign it once that's done.
But
Real
Pat,
progress, real progress.
it passed the first big hurdle, is what you're saying.
Right.
Good. 35 years
Well,
since we've been doing this?
We've been working on it.
Yeah.
You're closer to retirement, Leo.
Okay, and I have no, general discussion. I think that brings us to the end. Do we need to go into closed session for something? Yeah.
Wait a minute. When are you gonna open?
December 19th.
Hopefully, huh?
No, we got filming.
I know, but hasn't been cold enough night, but turning that way.
You don't, we start Thanksgiving the day after Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
the week after Thanksgiving.
Okay. Kids want to know, sorry.
So anyway, I got him, gave him the update, so he, understands all of the issues, so it's a good thing. He's a new guy, so he's
Okay.
able to understand them all, so.
Okay, so closed session?
The motion that we need to go into closed session. I motion
The
that we,
audience to,
oh,
well, we can do the.
We can do the
first.
motion.
okay,
and we'll do
I
it.
motion that we go into a closed session.
Is this a roll call?
And I'll second, and then just roll.
Yeah.
Aye, Shane Gavel.
Aye, Bill Emerson.
IDJ.
I need Christensen.
Scott Chamberlain.
Wait, aye.